Hey friends, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, and welcome back to another video. In light of current events, I've had a lot of you asking me for any and all tips and tricks I might have for working from home, staying productive while in quarantine, whether that's a self-imposed isolation or more of a government mandate, depending on where you are in the world. And while I don't think I'm an expert in being productive while working at home, I am about to celebrate a full year of self-employment and working from this very room. So I thought I would throw together a video where I can share any of my insight, any of my hard-earned wisdom as far as being productive while working from the same place you live, whether you're trying to work remotely from your job or if you're a student and you still want to keep up with studying while school is closed. So hopefully these tips are helpful to you, and if anyone watching this video has worked from home and has some advice, please leave your advice in the comments. I really want this to be as useful as possible to as many people as possible who may be feeling a little untethered at the moment. Tip number 1, stick to your routine. If you already have a routine that you use day to day when you work outside of the house or go to school, then do your best to maintain it now that you're working from home. So for example, if you typically wake up at 6 a.m., you head to the gym and grab a coffee on the way, work out, and then head to work, try to maintain a similar routine even though you can't actually leave your house. So wake up at 6, make a coffee, do a workout from a YouTube video in your living room, and then sit down for your regular workday. This will help you to feel a little less unmoored. It will make your work from home situation feel more familiar and therefore easier to fall into and to feel your regular productive self. This will also help this stint of working from home from feeling too much like a vacation. Tip number 2, maintain your sleep schedule. Again, if you have some sort of regular sleep schedule, if you always go to bed at 9 and wake up at 6, then keep doing that. I can tell you wholeheartedly from a human who has never had a regular sleep schedule in her life, that you will regret it if you let your sleep schedule crumble into mayhem and chaos. If your body knows when bedtime is and when you should wake up naturally, don't mess with it. Please let your body continue that schedule. Even though it's tempting to stay up till 2 a.m. and sleep in till 2 in the afternoon, this will not help your mental state, I promise you, and it definitely won't help your productivity. This, of course, only applies if you are not sick. If you are sick and trying to heal, then you should sleep as much as you need to recover. But if you are self-isolating just as a preventative measure, then I would highly recommend you keep your sleep schedule as close to normal as possible. Tip number 3, create a dedicated workspace in your home. Even if you don't have a separate room that you can use as a home office, try to create some little corner, some little area where you can really focus in on your work. So whether that's a corner of your dining room table or a specific spot on your couch or whatever it is, pick a spot to be your work spot and be consistent. Try to do all of your work in this space and not spend time in the space when you're not working. This division, this physical boundary will help a lot with keeping you productive during your set work hours and helping you to relax when you're not working. One of the hardest things about working from home that I have learned from firsthand experience is that it's really easy to A, get super distracted by all of your home things and not get to work for the majority of the day, continue to go into different parts of your house and do other things that are not work, and B, get too caught up in work because you never have to go home because you already are home and you work for 16 hours a day. Both of those are not things you want. So I highly recommend creating a physical boundary, making that your office. I've heard of people who have to compromise and use a room that they typically would use for something else as their home office, and when they're done their workday, they leave the room, close the door, and then open the door and enter again as if they've come home from work. And that for them is enough of a psychological cue that work is over and it's time for relaxation. So whether it's more of a psychological placebo effect, or if you are actually able to have a separate room where you can close the door at the end of the day, both of these will help a lot with maintaining your productivity. It also helps because if you tell everyone in your household that this is your work space, then hopefully they will be more likely to respect your boundaries and not bother you too much while you're trying to work. Tip number 4, block out distractions. I highly recommend that you use some earplugs or noise canceling headphones while you're working to try to block out all of the sounds that you may not expect to experience while being home all day. You're likely to hear kids playing, dogs barking, your neighbor using a leaf blower, even though there are no leaves left on their lawn. Yes, you, Bob, I'm talking to you. Blocking out all those extra sounds can really help you to concentrate if you're struggling by all of the distractions of being at home. Some people prefer complete silence, and others, like me, like having some sort of background noise, but a specific type of background noise. If you're one of those people, I highly recommend finding a playlist that is soft music and nature sounds. Those are scientifically proven to help the brain the most in concentration and can give you a little bit of something to stop your brain from wandering off into the silence and keep you focused on the task at hand. Tip number 5. Focus on one priority each day. I talked about this in my How to Use Your Bullet Journal to Be Productive video. I will link that for you here in the card and in the description box down below if you haven't seen it, because everything I talk about in that video will help if you are trying to adjust to working from home. But I did want to reiterate this idea specifically because I think it is one of the most important things about being productive while working from home. So make a priority each day. You can write it in your bullet journal in bold, you can use a different color, you can put a little asterisk beside it to indicate its significance, whatever works for you. Pick that one priority, something that has to get done that day, and make sure that you address that first thing in your workday before you do any other little tasks that can end up taking a lot longer than we expect or get distracted by other things throughout the day. Start with your number one priority and aim to finish that task on that day. I've heard it called swallow the frog, and that works as well, but I really find that picking one priority and making sure to address that in the day helps me to stay focused, helps me to get done whatever needs to be done that has a specific deadline or is most important, and also helps me to feel accomplished even if throughout the day things pop up and I don't end up getting as much done as I maybe hope to. If I have that one priority finished, I can feel accomplished. Tip number 6, take regular breaks. Most of us, when we're working in an office or going to school, have regular breaks built in. You have breaks between classes, you have coffee breaks, you have lunch. All of these things force you to stop work and give your mind a break to refresh and rejuvenate before jumping back in full force. So make sure to still give yourself those breaks while working from home. I know for me, I can get really bad about just focusing in, honing in on a single task and working on it for hours and hours and hours without a break. And that's not great for my productivity because I end up taking longer to do tasks than I need to because I start to get tired and I don't give my brain that moment to rest that it needs. Make sure when you do take those breaks to go to a different area of your home, stretch your legs, whether you actually do some stretching and yoga, do a little bit of a workout, maybe do a couple laps of your house to get a little bit of movement and exercise, especially if wherever you're working isn't the most ergonomic setup. And make sure you're eating and staying hydrated. It can be really easy as well to forget to eat and drink enough water when working from home. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Tip number 7, bring the outside in. Even if you can't actually leave your house, make sure to get as much natural light and fresh air as you possibly can. Staying inside all of the time can easily start to feel claustrophobic or stifling. So if you can get any amount of fresh air coming through your house, if you can get some sunlight or at least a view of the sky, even if it isn't sunny, this can really, really help to keep you feeling energetic and keep you feeling refreshed and ready to work. You want to avoid the feeling of holing up in a cave as much as possible. Tip number 8, respect your own boundaries. Put down your work at your predetermined time and respect yourself enough to not break promises you've made to yourself. As I said before, it is really easy when working from home to work really, really long days. 14, 16, 18-hour days are not out of the norm when you work from home. It's really easy to lose track of time. So I highly recommend you set some sort of alarm, and when it goes off, your workday is done. You can always pick it back up tomorrow unless you have a hard deadline and you really need to work until you finish it. You are probably able to put everything aside, take time to rest and recharge, and get back into it the next day. As I mentioned before, you want to do this resting in a different part of your house as much as humanly possible. You don't want to try to rest in the area you've been working. That will make it really hard to shut off your brain. Tip number 9, maintain social connections. Especially if you are in isolation on your own in your apartment or house, it's really important that you maintain some sort of contact with your friends and family. This is a scary time that we're in. I don't think there's anything useful in hiding the fact that a lot of us are scared right now. And it's important for our own mental health to maintain those social connections, even if we can't see our loved ones face to face. So call your grandparents, FaceTime your best friend, go on Skype with your coworkers during the day to feel like you're back in the office, call your parents and make sure they're doing okay. Whoever it is for you that you love and care about, make sure you're maintaining contact both for their benefit and for your own. And lastly, tip number 10, turn off your phone. Don't spend too much time online or on social media. Not only is this a problem for working from home in the best of times where social media and the internet can be very distracting and pull you down into a dark hole from which you don't emerge for hours at a time, but especially in our current climate, it can leave us feeling demotivated and uncertain and stressed. So as much as you can, turn off your phone, disconnect from the internet, and try turning to forms of mindfulness to keep yourself centered and healthy and happy. I really recommend journaling as an option, meditation if you're able. You could do yoga or paint or draw or read, listen to music, whatever it is for you that helps to center you, maybe just focusing on your breathing for a few minutes. These things can really help to bring us back to the present, stop us from worrying about the future, and keep us fully grounded in our own bodies. Yes, stay informed. Check in with your government websites that are telling you the latest news, precautions you need to be aware of, but don't overdo it. Don't saturate yourself in the worry and the uncertainty and make yourself feel worse than you already do. Especially try to avoid media with sensational titles. Yes, there is reason to be worried and to take precautions, but no, we don't need to be descending into panic. That doesn't help anyone, so try to avoid those things if you possibly can. Not only will it help you to stay more productive while you're working, but it will also help you to just feel better in general. Again, I highly recommend you check out the video I made on using your bullet journal to be more productive. It's linked here and in the description box. That will go more in depth into using your bullet journal to plan out your days and stay on task, making priorities, using hourly timelines, the Pomodoro technique, all kinds of fun, useful tips. So definitely check that one out after this one if you're looking for even more practical tips. I hope this video was helpful for you. Please, as always, leave your tips and tricks in the comments down below so we can all get even more ideas for staying on task while stuck in our homes. For a lot of you, this is not normal and it's going to be hard to keep working at your regular pace when everything feels different. But hopefully these tips will be enough to keep you going, to keep you productive, and to make you feel like you're still on top of everything you have to get done. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy. Remember to wash your hands and maintain social distancing. I am sending my thoughts and good feelings to all of you all over the world, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye, friends. Bonus tip number 11, if you have furry friends, take this as an opportunity to hang out with them even more. They're going to be so excited that you're home with them, and give them lots of cuddles and lean on them for support and give them all the love that you have to give because they're great and they're happy you're home. Aren't you? Are you happy I'm home? I was trying to hold her so she wouldn't knock my microphone and make lots of weird sounds, and that was very difficult to do. I have cat hair on my mouth now. Okay, bye.